He has the size and quickness, Gary, to defend against a Chris Mullin. He leads this North Carolina State team in block shots.
As this game goes on, you'll be watching those defenses. They may be throwing different sets at him, trying to derail Chris Mullin as the red-clad Wolfpack of North Carolina State has the opening tap. Lorenzo Charles had that dunk shot heard around the world a couple of years ago in Albuquerque. Roselle McQueen broken up. Willie Glass has it, and he is fouled by Spud Webb. A little tentative that first time down the floor.
Well, we see early North Carolina State trying to get the ball inside to Cozell McQueen. Again, we see Chris Mullin coming over those quick hands, knocking the ball loose. Willie Glass picking up the loose ball.
Both these teams have excellent depth, so they could spread the fouls around. As Chris Mullin will inbound, he's coming off a 30-point performance. Here is Moses. Walter Berry had 22 points in the game Friday, and he starts them out, and that's kind of indicative of the last game.
St. John's likes to develop an inside game early. Walter Berry, Bill Winnington, and then kick the ball outside and let Chris Mullin shoot.
Walter Berry has not been intimidated by tournament play at all.
Well, he's just such a confident player. He knows what he can do, and he's very excited to be playing in this tournament today.
Here's Spud Webb. He had an outstanding game in reach play. He had 29 points. Nate McMillan missing. Rebound, Cozell McQueen. They've got to hit those shots now from outside. Broken up. Mike Moses. Moses to Chris Mullin.
Two early turnovers by North Carolina State. Good defense by St. John's. A transition bucket for Chris Mullin. St. John's very soft in their man-to-man pressure.
Bill Winnington reaching in. He bats it out of bounds, and North Carolina State will reset it.
Chris Mullin is really not even guarding Nate McMillan. He's just floating around defensively. He's going to dive in on the post and try to double team in every situation.
Here's Spud Webb, who stands all of 5'7" with his shoes on. And Russell Pierre almost traveled with the basketball. The left-hand shot on the way, and another miss. And as you said, they have got to hit from outside or this game is over.
St. John's is going to give him that shot all day long. They must get that shot to go down to open up their inside attack.
Moses is the guy that gets the ball inside. He's perfect for this team. Walter Berry changes his shot, and he gets a foul. Nate McMillan reaching in and committing the personal foul. Chris Mullin's more than an offensive player.
Let's look at him on defense. We see him right now in the center of your screen, down doubling. Nate McMillan is actually on the other side of the floor. Chris Mullin is not even within 10 feet of him.
He just freelances at both ends of the floor, doesn't he?
Well, he's an excellent team defensive player. Does not have great quickness, but he has very good hands and very aware of where the other team wants to go with the basketball.
You were excellent, Doug, at playing away from the ball, and Chris Mullin may be as good as anybody right now in the game.
You know, it's just an instinct that you get, helping your teammates at all times, knowing where their strengths lie and try to take that away from them.
Walter Berry, who this year has been shooting 71% from the line, now has 3 points. And it's a 6-0 lead now for St. John's.
North Carolina State has opened up in a man-to-man defense. St. John's in both possessions have gone to Walter Berry, and he's got 2 free throws and a bucket.
Spud Webb, who'd like to penetrate, in trouble, gets it off from McQueen. The foul was on Berry, and the basket will count. Webb looked like he was hung up, Doug, but he was able to convert it into something.
Well, thank goodness for NC State that he has a 42-inch vertical jump. He got in the lane. He really didn't have anywhere to go with the ball. He's going to hang until finally he finds someone. At the last moment, Cozell McQueen flashes to the basket, receives a pass, follows it up nicely, and gets the score.
Cozell McQueen, who fouled out early in the ball game against Alabama in the semifinals, hits a free throw, has a 3-point play, and it's a 3-point lead now for the Redmen.
North Carolina State extending their defense a little bit now. Spud Webb putting a little bit more pressure on the ball.
Chris Mullin. They're going to have to get tighter than that.
You can't play him soft. Nate McMillan just cannot let him catch the ball. He's way too deadly, does too many things for his team.
Kentucky played him straight on Friday. They didn't really do anything out of the ordinary, and there is Spud Webb being fouled by Moses. That's the first foul on Moses, second team foul on the Redmen. There's the new sweater, and the new sweater's doing very well thus far. The Western look, the ski look, it's now 3-0.
If North Carolina State has one strength right now, it's Spud Webb and his penetration. The last 2 dimes down the floor, he's gotten the ball in the lane. That time he got a foul. On the previous possession, he got a 3-point play for Cozell McQueen.
4 junior college players this game who have really impacted these two teams. Spud Webb in the backcourt is another one. Here's Russell Pierre, who had such a strong rebounding game against Alabama. He's going to try another one. That'll help his confidence.
Well, that's a big basket right there. He looked very hesitant taking that shot after he missed his first one. Almost he was forced to take it. He didn't convert it.
NC State now 2 of 4 from the field. St. John's has hit all 3 of their opportunities. 8-5 the Redmen. Barry working hard with Charles. Those two guys are big and strong and going after each other. Whittington misses. Charles with good positioning on the rebound.
Nice block out there by Lorenzo Charles, using that power to keep Walter Berry off the boards.
Lorenzo Charles, after a game, is on the weights the next day. He loves to lift, and you can see the end result. Spud Webb. They're back on track now. They're outside shooting.
2 straight perimeter shots, one by Russell Pierre, the other by Spud Webb. I felt that if those two guys had not got off the mark, you might see early substitutions. Benny Bolton and Terry Gannon off that NC State bench.
So after trailing by 6, NC State's cut it to 1. Mullin driving. Nicely deflected. And a foul is going to go on Nate McMillan, and he doesn't like it, and that's his second. 3rd team foul against the Wolfpack.
Chris Mullin is going to turn the corner. He's going to go up. His first shot is partially blocked, staying on the boards. Nate McMillan was ruled that he came over the back, and that's a tough foul right there because he is their best defensive player.
Moses will inbounds to Willie Glass. Glass started very slowly in that game the other night, but he really came on in the second half. McQueen with another rebound, and that's what they've got him in there for. And he's 6'11", those long arms. He takes up a lot of room. Louis
Carnesecca looking at Chris Mullin saying, hey, let's run it a little bit further down. We can get a better shot than that.
Charles had it rejected by Berry, saved by McMillan, and a foul. Picking up the foul. It's going to be Chris Mullin. That'll be his first. The multiple shots. North Carolina State has the brawn. They have the muscle to go toe-to-toe with St. John's, but again comes down to their outside game.
Outside shooting, and Jim Valvano told us yesterday they can't get in foul trouble. They cannot afford to get Lorenzo Charles or Cozell McQueen in foul trouble because those two guys can bang inside to the big St. John's front line.
McMillan, who's only 6 feet tall in high school and no major college wanted him, so he went to junior college. Now it's 6'5". He's been their most versatile player. Substitution. The man you were talking about a while ago, Benny Bolton, will come in, and he was very, very sharp the other night. Coming off the bench, hitting the baskets. They wanted to start him, but he asked Jim Valvano not to start him. He'd rather come off the bench. He says he's in a groove.
Let's watch to see if Benny Bolton can hit that first outside shot. He's one of those players, when he hits the first one, it seems to go all night long. Gary, right now we're seeing a gimmick defense. Right now we're seeing a 1-3 with a chaser. Benny Bolton guarding Chris Mullin man-to-man. The other 4 players in a 1-3 zone.
Glass misses. Charles has the rebound. After hitting their first 3 shots, St. John's has missed their last 5. There's Bolton, and that is going to be a blocking foul. They're asking to see if there's goaltending. Jim Valvano wants the 2 points as well. Look at him. Think he's getting his point across?
They've called goaltending. Benny Bolton's going to take the ball to the basket. Here comes Walter Berry out of nowhere. He blocks the shot. Goaltending was the call. And Benny Bolton also was fouled on the play. A blocking foul was called on Mike Moses. And now Benny Bolton has the opportunity to finish off a 3-point play.
What's significant about that play, Doug, is that Benny Bolton needs to start well. He's one of those guys that gets in a real funk if he doesn't hit his first shot or 2.
He practiced what we call positive visual imagery. He sees himself making that first shot. When he's on the bench, letting it go, he sees it in his mind, and then when he gets on the floor, he hopes those visual thoughts will come to reality for him.
So Berry helps him have the 3-point play, and all of a sudden, after trailing by 6, North Carolina State now has a 4-point lead.
Showing a little trapping defense, falling back again now to the 1-3 zone, and a chaser, Benny Bolton, playing man-to-man on Chris Mullin. Does not want to let him catch the basketball.
Whittington posting up inside, bouncing off of McQueen. That little jump hook, that's a new repertoire for him. He added that this year, and it's really helped his offense.
With North Carolina State in this defense, they got one thing that they've got to be very aware of. That's boxing off the boards. They give up a lot of second shots when they play their trick defenses.
The Wolfpack by 2, 14:45 to go in the first half. 3 of the spots have been claimed. The 4th and final one to be decided here. Charles broken up by Wennington. Wennington played much better than he did in the semifinal game. Moses. Mike Moses, who Jim Valvano recruited when he was at Iona. Moses went to Florida, then after 2 years there, transferred back home to St. John's.
He just used his size advantage that time, drove the ball to the free throw line, jumped right over Spud Webb for an easy 15-footer.
It's even at 12. Here's Charles. From the corner. Bolton doesn't get it, but McQueen comes down to the rebound. Spud Webb, who at 5'7", has 12 slam dunks this year. Look at his jumping ability.
Well, that's a little payback right there. He took it right to Mike Moses and jumped right over the top of him. He jumps so smoothly, Gary. It looks like he just explodes off the floor effortlessly.
Not only explodes, but it's a quick jump. Quickly he gets up. Here's Barry. Walter Barry gets a roll. He has 6 points. He had 22 points, 12 rebounds. The victory they had against Kentucky. St. John's had a streaky team right now. It's hit 4 in a row. Bolton misses. Mullin taps it out to Moses. Willie Glass. And stopping of action. What's this all about?
There was an inadvertent whistle. It sounded like somebody blew a whistle, and the players just stopped.
Surprised that doesn't happen more often, Doug. That's what it is. So they'll just pick it up where they left off, and we're going to have a timeout. Timeout with 13:10 to go in this first half. 14-all. Doug, we talked about how many problems Chris Mullin will provide for you, and North Carolina State's trying to cause him some difficulty.
This is a look at the defense that I was talking about. A 1-3 zone. We see it right here in the lane area. Those 4 players are playing zone. We have a chaser, Benny Bolton, guarding Chris Mullin, not letting him catch the ball at all times. And here we're going to get a chance to look at it. Benny Bolton, number 23 in the red, shadowing Chris Mullin. Wherever he goes on the floor, we see the other 4 players playing zone in the lane.
But you get the feeling that Chris Mullin has seen it all, and with his poise, his savvy, his confidence, doesn't seem to bother him at all.
He will not force shots to prove he's an All-American. He will try to beat you in other ways.
He's that unselfish player. Now looking inside as we have a 14-all game, 13:06 to go in the first half of play.
NC State now playing just a straight 2-3 zone, really shading Chris Mullin wherever he goes on the floor.
Bud Webb kind of running around his shoe tops there. Charles had it for a moment. Barry, the jump hook. Keeps it alive to Willie Glass. They're pounding the boards. Still don't get it. And finally ripped down by Russell Pierre.
Great effort on the offensive board by St. John's. Could just not get the shot to fall.
That shows you the board strength. In fact, Jim Valvano said they're deceptive. They're a lot bigger than they look in there. And that's going to be a foul on McQueen. He elbowed into Bill Wennington. That's his first. 4th team foul against the Pack.
The 2 big men really banging inside. Bill Wennington sets up in the lane defensively. Cozell McQueen's going to try to get position. He throws his shoulders back. Good call by the officials. Offensive foul.
Looks like Wennington put a little extra into it, though.
He might have got an Emmy on that one.
Still 14 apiece. Mullin, he's gotten loose again. You know he's out there, but you can't find him sometimes.
That's because he's perpetual motion. He doesn't stay in one spot. And the moment you turn your back on him, he'll find the open area.
St. John's by 2. Spud Webb into McQueen.
Lorenzo Charles has not really seen the ball on the offensive end of the floor right now. St. John's doing a very good job not letting him catch the ball in the scoring territory.
That's deflected. There was Mullin again, roaming around inside. Got a hand on it. Bolton will try one. Rebound Wennington.
Just pull the string on that one. Not a good follow through, like he tried to guide it in the basket rather than shoot it with confidence.
Remember a year ago shooting so poorly. And look at this, Bill Wennington. 4 points for Wennington.
Great pass and great timing there by Bill Wennington. He actually guided that ball into the basket with one hand.
But Webb creating things again, and McQueen is fouled. Willie Glass committing the foul.
Chris Mullin has his head up. He sees the whole floor. Bill Wennington roaming the defense, roaming behind the defense there, converts. That's great play there by both Bill Winnington and Chris Mullin.
A man who has grown into his job, Bill Winnington, improved so much. I started to say about Bolton a moment ago, he pulled a string on that last shot. He was shooting so poorly at one time, Valvano last year said, if you'll smile before every shot, it'll go in.
That's a good thought, because a lot of times kids, especially who take it so personal when they miss a shot, when they get that in their mind and have a lack of confidence, Gary, you've got to do everything you can to try to get them through that. 5
points for Cozell McQueen. 18-16. You see the time remaining in the first half of play. Thus far, NC State's hit all 6 of their free throws.
NC State man-to-man defense this time down the floor. They've really been changing their defenses early.
That's a long ways out for the 7-footer, but he gets it. And that play a while ago may have given him some real confidence. 6 points for Winnington. Russell Pierre, now he's falling away on that shot. Didn't look good at all, and Pierre comes up with the carom.
That's a shot that they can get any time down the floor. It was way too quick. Need to work the ball around, kick it inside, then kick it back outside to take that shot.
Here's the shot by Bolton, and it fell. He got the roll. That helped him. He's nodding as he heads back up the floor. He needed that one.
Almost a sigh of relief and a look on his face after that one went in.
Sometimes, Doug, don't you think too long about your shots, you hold the ball too long.
It's an instinctive thing. When you start thinking, you've got big problems.
There's Mullin, followed by Glass, doesn't go. McQueen's there. And McQueen is doing a very strong job for North Carolina State. He has 4 rebounds. Broken up, thrown away, and that'll drive Jim Valvano bananas. Here's Mullin against Webb. 8 points for the All-American.
What a magnificent play. He had Spud Webb on him. Spud Webb started to take the charge, and when he did, Chris Mullin with a behind-the-back dribble going to his weak hand finished it off.
Always seems to come up with something that surprises you.
Oh, that right there is a sign that he spends hours and hours in the gym. That was an instinctive move.
There's McQueen, and he's fouled by Winnington, and they are colliding in this game. They're going after each other. Now, this was the guard shooting in Madison Square Garden in the first game this year that was won by St. John's. And look at the difference today. This is a different team, though. That was following on the heels of all those problems centering around Chris Washburn. They really were having some identity problems at that time.
Jim Valvano said yesterday in a press conference that the kind of adversity his team went through is the kind that tears teams apart. His team stuck together, and actually now they're better for it.
Valvano has that ability, though, to rally your people. And you've said so many times that teams really are just extensions of their coaches. How they play, tight, loose, whatever their characteristic may be. 22-19 for Redmond, the #1 seed in the West region. They win this, they'll beat St. John's, correction, Georgetown in Lexington next Saturday. Here's Barrett. Glass was there, mistimed the jump. And we have a foul against North Carolina State's Russell Pierre. And substitution, Mark Jackson will check in. He had a very fine game Friday night, 12 points and 4 assists. He'll replace Mike Moses. Russell Pierre committing the foul, his first. That's the 15th foul, and we have a timeout. 9:20 to go here in Denver, Colorado. St. John's leads it by 3. And Louis has really been a mentor to Jim Valvano in a lot of ways. You could see the NCAA title that Jim won a couple of years ago, and Louis trying to get to the Final Four for the first time. And they have been the media darlings out here. They have loved them in the Rocky Mountain area.
Well, Jim Valvano yesterday's press conference, one question he was asked, and he talked for 30 minutes.
Oh, by the way, it's the first turnover in the game against St. John's. North Carolina State with a chance to cut it to 1. Bolton, along with Pierre, Spud Webb, Lorenzo Charles, and McQueen. Here's the All-ACC pick, kicking it out to Spud Webb.
Spud Webb really looking to penetrate. He's under very good control today. Has got in the lane twice and dished off to his teammates for easy baskets.
Carl's working so hard to get open. They just aren't getting the ball to him.
St. John's knows that NC State wants to get the ball to him. They're really doing a good job. Willie Glass putting his body on him, just not letting him post.
Bolton needs that shot to go. Pierre tries to follow, and it's going to be off of Bill Winnington. Let's look at Charles, see the difficulty he has.
Again, we see Chris Mullin. He's going to play good team help defense. We see Mark Jackson diving in there, so he's actually playing 1-on-3 in the lane area.
Their leading scorer, averaging over 18 a game. Spud Webb from outside. Pierre over the back to Barry. Also Pierre committing his second personal foul. 16 fouls now against the Wolfpack.
Russell Pierre might be the finest offensive rebounder in the ACC. That time he was on the perimeter, the shot was taken. He tried to get quickly to the boards, but came over the back of Walter Berry.
When you have Berry and Glass, it's hard to get position and hard to keep from coming over the back. Mark Jackson off to Glass. Glass has been quiet, but can he explode in a hurry? Here's Berry. Nice pass that time by Glass.
Walter Berry is a combination of both speed and power. That time, Charles went for the steal. Walter Berry rolled off to the basket, and quickness got him the dunk.
Well, they say that Berry may be the ticket to the Final Four for this team. The difference, Pierre intimidated inside. Whittington tries to save it. It'll be the Wolfpack's basketball.
This is the quickness I was talking about. Lorenzo Charles sneaks up, tries to get the steal, and Walter Berry with a quick drop step, finishing it off with a power slam.
Even though he's left-handed, he can go to his right.
We have a lot of lefties in this game today.
St. John's has really gotten the ball in well. They've got 10 points in the paint thus far.
North Carolina State has made an adjustment. In this possession, they brought Charles out on the perimeter to try to get him a shot.
He has good range, and Glass commits a foul. Willie Glass, that's his second personal. The 1-and-1 now goes into effect as a substitution. Ron Stewart, 33, who Louis Carnesecca says the finest utility man he's ever had. They're coming in. David Thompson, who played on that 74 team in North Carolina State that won the national championship.
One of the most exciting basketball players to ever play in college and pro. He had the quickest first step, and he could jump right over the top of it.
Lorenzo Charles still looking for his first point of the afternoon. North Carolina State is not a good free throw shooting team. For the year, they're shooting 67%.
That will hurt them in a close ball game if free throw shooting does become a factor.
Terry Gannon, number 24, has also come in, and he is their downtown shooter from outside. Number 24 hit some beauties the other night in that win against Alabama. Jackson, rebound by Gannon, the senior from Joliet, Illinois.
We'll have to watch now the matchups that St. John's has. Terry Gannon in the ballgame will be guarded by Chris Mullin. Chris can't roam as much on Terry Gannon because of his outside shooting. He's got to stay at home a little more.
Gannon was 4 of 4 against Alabama the other night, and they were the long variety. He'll put it up from anywhere. Pierre can't hang on. The ball will go over to St. John's. 6 turnovers now against the Wolfpack. And look at the points that have been converted by the Redmen.
Well, NC State will be winning this basketball game if they could just take care of the basketball, but right now they've struggled. That pass right there, Russell Pierre just took his eye off the ball. It was a good pass from Terry Gannon.
6.5 minutes left in this first half. Villanova today moving into the Final Four to join Georgetown and Memphis State. That ball is off of Berry's hands. North Carolina State will get possession. Thus far, St. John's getting the better of it from the field goal department. Look at Gannon. He will waste no time.
That's a very, very important shot. Again, Chris Mullin gave him so much room. Chris has got to get up and take that shot away from him. He's 6'6". If he gets a hand up on him, he will change the trajectory of his shot.
Terry Gannon, the year the ACC had the three-point play, had a heyday. He loves to shoot from outside. He could be a real difference maker in this game. Deflected. Charles, quick reaction, but it's going to be off of Lorenzo.
St. John's a little impatient the last 2 times, really trying to force the ball inside to Walter Berry. There's no need for that. Just keep moving the basketball and take what it gives you.
Mark Jackson brings it into Chris Mullin. 24-21, St. John's. You got Gannon and Webb in there. You really have 2 small front court men, don't you?
You must play zone with those 2 people. You've just got to with that guard core in there. Both of them 1'5'7", 1'6". There's just no way you could match up man-to-man with Chris Mullin.
And that's one of the concerns they've had all year long. See, Mullin was ready to load it up in a hurry. Webb reaches in on him. Gannon tries to come up with it. Instead, it's picked up by Ron Stewart.
North Carolina State right now in a 2-3 zone, actually a matchup. Wherever Chris Mullin goes, they're trying to get out to him.
Queen with yet another rebound. He has 5. Chance now to cut it to 1. See Mullin coming out. You said it very well. He is staying pretty close to Terry Gannon now.
Well, Terry Gannon is such a streaky shooter. You've just got to take it away from him. And Chris Mullin has the size to do that.
Charles operating outside because they could get it into him inside.
Ron Stewart's done a good job on him.
Rebound by the man you just mentioned, Stewart.
That's a little bit quick. I think Lorenzo Charles right now feeling the frustration.
Whittington tried another one of those, this time from the left side. It didn't come out with the same result.
That actually was a better pass, and he had 2 hands on it. He fumbled that one. I think he took his eye off at the last moment as one of the state defenders snuck in front of him.
Gannon, he's got Mullin out of position. Rebound by Berry. Notice Gannon, when he has to move like that, doesn't shoot as well as he does from a start, where he just goes straight up. That'll be a charge on Jackson.
Terry Gannon is a standstill shooter. When you make him put the ball on the floor, you destroy his rhythm, and that's what happened in the last possession.
Timeout, 4:12 to go in the first half. St. John's leading by 3. The Redmen looking for their 31st win of the year.
I thought that a couple times down the floor, St. John's did not use good patience. They tried to force the ball inside to Walter Berry. They did not get good results. And last time down the floor, an offensive foul. So St. John's a little bit out of the rhythm right now offensively.
Nate McMillan has checked back in for North Carolina State. And here's teams, Memphis State, Georgetown, and Villanova will be in Lexington next week. It'll be right here on CBS. The winner of this, Georgetown. Could be the 4th meeting of the year between St. John's and Georgetown.
Spud Webb's got a jumper anytime he wants to take it.
Well, that's not a place for a 5'7" guy to be.
Well, they're giving him that penetration. They're trying to take that away from him. Excuse me, he's got to hit the outside shot. Mark Jackson is way off of him.
Millen did look good on that. There's Webb. He kept it alive to McQueen. The basket. Whittington commits the foul, and Spud Webb did something you'd never expect a 5'7" player to be able to do.
When you give a guy a lot of room, a lot of times you can't find him to check him out. We're going to watch Spud Webb. Here he comes flying in. That's an assist for Spud Webb on that basket. It might be 3 points for North Carolina State.
He's not intimidated. He was 5'4" as a high school senior, then went to Midland, Texas Junior College. And he is one of the first small men to really have impact in major college basketball. And there is a foul by Charles. We wish he had that one back. That's his first.
At this point of the ball game, if you're Jim Valvano, you got to say, hey, I got to feel pretty good about this. 3:39 to go. We're down 1, and my best player is not even scratched yet, Lorenzo Charles.
The guy has picked up the slack is McQueen. McQueen has played very well on the boards, gotten those follow shots inside. Whittington at the line. He now has 7 points. Substitution in a moment will be Glass, but he'll have to wait because he'll be replacing Whittington.
Well, he wanted to come in for right now. Willie Glass is going to come in the ball game for Bill Whittington. He did not want him to pick up any more fouls before half.
Whittington leaves. Here comes Glass. Glass was really doing a good job in that press conference the other day. He had his CBS Sports hat on. He got a new haircut. You could hardly see his eyes. It fell down over his ears.
He had so much jewelry on, too. I thought he was Daryl Dawkins.
26-23, the Redmen. Queen yelling, talking to McMillan. You've got a 6'6" guy like Chris Mull. It's hard for Gannon at 6 foot to get a shot off. There's Charles. Still doesn't go. McMillan follows. Lorenzo batted away, and a frustrated Lorenzo Charles.
And he had 2 points. Excellent hands by a St. John defender. Took it away from him.
Chris Mullin. All that work at the other end, and he just comes down and calmly puts one in.
That's what Jim Valvano told us yesterday. It's so difficult when you have to work so hard to get your points, and the other team comes down and scores so easily.
28-23. 2:48. You see the time left in the first half. McMillan, that's at the feet of McQueen. That's a bad pass to throw it to a 6'11" guy.
Cozell McQueen is not the kind of player that's going to catch a real tough pass in traffic. You have to be very selective the way you get him the ball.
28-23, Berry backing into McQueen. Strong and yet at the same time so mobile as Walter Berry.
Game starting to slip away right now, a little bit from NC State. It's a 7-point lead for St. John's. Somebody needs to hit a big bucket this time down the floor.
Webb trying to create something. Louis Carnesecca went crazy on the sideline. He thought that was a traveling call. Spud Webb, difficult shot at best. Charles, he finally gets 2 points. That might break the ice for him.
He's becoming very active on the offensive board. The previous possession, Gary, he had another easy basket that was taken away. That time, good play and a nice save there by NC State because Spud Webb took a tough shot.
I didn't know Carnesecca at 60 years of age could run that fast. Did you see him dart down the sideline a moment ago?
Good quickness.
Glass missing. Stewart follows, and McMillan pulls it out of there. Off to Webb. Webb in the open court is fun to watch, but he traveled this time. Well, maybe Louis' job on the sideline worked a little bit. He got the traveling call this time down the floor.
The big man for North Carolina State, Lorenzo Charles. Very strong rebound. Up, nice follow. It's great to have the ability to be able to hit the offensive board, to get yourself going offensively. Lorenzo Charles can do that. He can get himself involved by banging the offensive boards.
You know, he has such even temperament. He doesn't get upset, he keeps plugging away, and even though he hadn't scored, he was still battling in there. 5-point lead for the Redmen. Stewart against McQueen. Here comes Spud Webb. And he's fouled by Jackson. He gets in the open court and the fans get to their feet.
When Spud Webb gets in the open court, you better not backpedal on him. You better turn and sprint because he will go around you so quickly. We see a picture of Jim Valvano. He told us yesterday, Gary, when he was speaking with us, that his goal at halftime is to be within 4 points either way of St. John's today. Right now, he's hanging in there, 5-point deficit, and Spud Webb shooting a 1-and-1.
Dick Stockton with highlights of Villanova, North Carolina at halftime. He also plays the second half, I thought, very interestingly. He takes it at 5-minute increments.
We'll have to see whether he does that. He said he might come out and press for 5 minutes. He might go 4-corner for 5 minutes. He might play 5 minutes in zone. He's going to try to break the second half down into a 20-minute game.
3-point lead, St. John's. North Carolina State doing a good job at the free throw line. They're 9 of 12.
Let's see if St. John's holds for one shot now.
You see the time left. At halftime, Memphis State's coach, Dana Kirk, will be our guest live in New York. Congratulations to the Metro Conference champions, back to the Final Four since Gene Bartow took the Tigers there.
Also to Rolly Massimino and Villanova. What a Cinderella team they've been in the NCAA tournament.
One of the Italians is in now.
That's right.
Rolly, and one other one will join him, either Valvano or Carnesecca. The three of them are going on a clinic this summer to Italy. That'll be something to see. Can you imagine those three guys together?
North Carolina State is in that 1-3 chaser right now. Gannon on Mullin.
That's a tough shot. Charles on the rebound. They're going to have to hurry. Webb lost it. Puts up a pass to Charles. It'll count. Spud Webb looked like he had no chance to convert that one. And Lorenzo Charles alertly came up with 2 points.
That almost looked like the play that ended the NCAA championship game against Houston. Lorenzo Charles with a follow.
Spud Webb to Charles, and that's the end of the first half. With the score 30-29 St. John's. And Louis says, come on now, come on, stop him. Oh, they didn't get it done. Play. Let's check it now. Moses is back in with Glass, Chris Mullin, Walter Berry, and Bill Winnington. That's the 5 that opened the game. Now, Terry Gannon's going to start the second half for NC State with Webb in the backcourt.
They're in the 1-3 chaser right now to start the half.
Also in the ball game is Bolton, joined by Lorenzo Charles and Cozell McQueen.
Terry Gannon trying to keep the ball away from Chris Mullin. He fouls him going around the screen. But, Gary, they've come out in their trick defense right now, trying to limit the amount of times that Mullin gets the ball. Here you're going to see it. He's going to hook him and bring him down. Chris Mullin with a perpetual motion away from the ball.
Gannon committing the personal foul. It's his first. Mullin gets it into Barry. Look at Spud Webb. He just comes running around your knee taps. Brings it back outside now to Mullin. Just underway, second half. The Redmen by 1. Barry. Nice pass by Willie Glass.
Walter Berry did a nice job there. As Chris Mullin came behind him and used the screen, he flashed into the lane. Nice pass, he was able to convert, did not put the ball on the floor.
What a combination. Barry with that strength and that nice touch he had on that little jump hook. Here's Charles, who had 4 points in the waning seconds of that first half. They need to have him explode.
Lorenzo Charles is known for his big second halves. He's had some big games this year, on the road especially, to bring the Wolfpack back from halftime deficits.
He had a 30-point game against Texas El Paso in regional play. Baseline Glass, he didn't even score in the first half, and had only 1 rebound. He's off to a very slow start. Give credit there to Cozell McQueen on the defensive end.
Let's see if North Carolina State goes right back in to Lorenzo Charles. He wants the ball against Willie Glass down low.
Bolton. Glass with the rebound, and Jim Valvano says, why did you take that shot?
Benny, he said we can get that shot anytime. Don't be in a hurry.
Barry bounces off of McQueen. He wanted to foul on that one.
NC State staying in their 1-3 chaser right now. Gannon trying to keep the ball away from Mullin.
Gannon giving up a lot of height, picks up another foul. Fouling Chris Mullin.
North Carolina State first play of the half. Who do they go to? Lorenzo Charles, realizing they need his offense. He powers the ball into the basket, goes up and scores.
Number 3 scorer this year in the ACC as Mullin will go to the line, and Mullin is just superb at the free throw line.
Gary, it's so difficult for Terry Gannon to be the chaser against Chris Mullin because of his lack of size. That time, Chris Mullin just ran him right into the post, posted him up, turned around, and shot over the top of it.
Chris Mullin's been superb from the free throw line, but he has not been shooting very well from the field. He's been struggling thus far.
North Carolina State needs Terry Gannon's outside shot. They need Nate McMillan's defense. They're sort of in a bind right now. One of them has got to do something. Either Gannon's got to start hitting or McMillan's got to come in and shut down Mullin.
Mullin is 5 of 12 shooting. That's certainly below his standards. 34-31, the Redmen. There's Gannon. Rebound, Winnington. Here's Glass. You just expect him to be more of this game in a little bit. Exploded in the second half the other time. Barry doesn't get the shot to drop. Follows his own. The basket will count. And he's fouled. Excellent second effort.
The problem with the trick defense is that you don't have a specific man to check off the boards. Walter Berry made North Carolina State pay. He took the shot. He's going to get the ball in the lane, take the shot, but he's going to follow his own shot. No block out there by Lorenzo Charles. Walter Berry now with an opportunity to finish off a 3-point play.
He now has 15 points to go with 4 rebounds. 37-31, St. John. Bolton was the guy who committed the foul on that last play. Again, North Carolina State needs that outside shooting. They're going to go inside to Charles. Wayne tried to keep it up, and Winnington comes down with the rebound. North Carolina State closed fast at the end of that first half, but right now St. John's has reasserted control of this game.
They've been very patient.
There's Glass. That'll be a charge.
Just as I say that, Willie Glass tries to put the ball on the floor and take it to the basket. I think he's feeling a little frustration right now. He's not scored. This time he's going to try to take the ball against Benny Bolton. Good position defense to draw the offensive foul.
I want to tell you, Bolton did not fake that. He got decked.
Well, Willie Glass is so well built and so strong.
Third foul on Willie Glass. 6-point lead for St. John's.
Terry Gannon must start hitting from outside to force Chris Mullin to play him. Right now he's giving him so much room.
Into McQueen. That's a tough catch again for the 6'11 center. Bud Webb. Beautiful pass to Charles. Drop step. That had some authority.
Credit Spud Webb. Again, his leaping ability and quickness to get into the lane, force the defense to come to him and dish it off to Lorenzo Charles.
Doug, that's been their best offense, is Webb penetrating.
Breaking the defensive down and getting the lane.
There's Mullin after hitting only 5 of of his first 12. He now has 14. Mullin's like all those great shooters, Doug. Even though he's not shooting well, he knows the next one's going to go in. He bet the ranch on it.
Keep taking good shots. That's the key. Just keep looking for your shot. When it's there, you got to take it.
Webb again creating. Gets it off to Charles, and Charles is fouled, and that's going to be right now the best thing that North Carolina State can do. Foul is on Barry.
Good penetration. Spud Webb, watch him explode. Dish off to Lorenzo Charles, and he's going to finish this one off with feeling.
And then on the following play, Charles didn't get the shot to go in, but he was fouled by Walter Barry.
I like North Carolina State's game plan here during the second half. They realize they need Lorenzo Charles scoring. I would say, Gary, in 5 of their 6 possessions, they've gone to him down the floor, and he's responded.
He can dominate a game. You see that physique, and starting now after the very slow start to come on a little bit. But that's not the kind of free throw shooting you expect. He's a 70% free throw shooter.
He's such a quiet player. He doesn't say anything. Sometimes he has a tendency to disappear a little bit. Jim Valvano realizing there's no way that he can beat St. John's unless this man comes to the front, and that's what he's done early in the second half.
Charles gets the second one, and there is what's happened thus far from the field. Still, the Redmen getting the better of it. 39-34. St. John's, by the way, has not missed from the free throw line. They're 7 of 7. NC State 11 of 14. Barry overshoots it. McQueen is there.
Nate McMillan has checked into the ball game for North Carolina State. He is now the chaser on Chris Mullin in this defense.
Webb creating again.
Nate McMillan not comfortable to step in and shoot the ball. He had an open shot, just did not want to pull the trigger.
Well, when you come off the bench, you're hesitant sometimes. There's the steal by Barry. Of course, I know you would come off the bench. You were ready to go. Miss. Remington comes up with it. And he's fouled by McMillan, who just checked into the ball game. That's 3 on Nate. 14th foul against the Wolfpack. Frustrating game for McMillan. Has 2 points.
Right inside, 2, man. 2.
Now, what is that gesture all about?
He is so animated.
Swennington with 8 points, 4 rebounds, and now 3 of 3 from the line.
One shot now.
One thing you told me about Bill Wennington,
Hear me? Not too
and
soon.
a lot of times you look for this in a big man, is what kind of heart you have, and he is always wanting to play this game.
Does he have fire in the furnace? This guy does. He'll go after it game in and game out. He'll bang you. He'll take his lumps, but he keeps coming back game in and game out.
And as an end result, keeps improving. This ties the biggest lead of the game now, 41-34 in favor of St. John's. Spud Webb with Moses on him, and Mullin jumped over and committed the foul, and that's a roaming defense. That time he got in foul trouble.
Chris Mullin not even aware of Nate McMillan. That's not a negative, that's a positive, because Nate McMillan has not made them pay. Spud Webb penetrating. Chris Mullin realizing he's been getting into the heart of the defense, comes over to give help, and we see the quickness of Spud Webb.
Tell you that, Chris hurt himself a little bit too on that collision. He walked to center court, kind of bent over and walking it off. He's okay.
I think Spud Webb's head hit him in the waist.
Webb has 6 assists in this game. Still some room for a small man in this game, right, Doug?
Oh, he's exciting. I love to watch him play.
Moses trying to stay with him, the whirling dervish. Shot up and in, and that was not an easy shot. As Benny Bolton now has 7 points.
That was not a shot that I thought was in his arsenal, but he showed me a right-handed jump hook. He's a left-handed shooter.
Maybe he forgot. 41-36. Here's Wennington. The head fake on McQueen. Wennington follows, and he's fouled by Charles, and that again just shows you how hard Bill Wennington plays.
Let's watch the exciting Spud Webb taking it to the big people, getting him off balance and dishing, this time to Benny Bolton. Nice right-hand jump hook. He gets a kind roll and gets the score.
Foul was on Charles, his second. We have a timeout. 14-18 left to go. St. John's leads it by 5.
Probably a lot of thought there among the players. Who's going to be our coach next year, as Joe Hall resigned the other night after the ball game?
14-13 to go in the game. Moses takes him inside. Rebound tipped off to Charles. About the time you think the Wolfpack might slide too far back, they battle back, and now they have a chance to cut it even closer, trailing by 5.
Lorenzo Charles has moved down on the perimeter. Let's see if he'll shoot that long-range jump shot. He's got a good touch for a big man. St. John's in a man-to-man defense. Lorenzo Charles looks like he wants to take that shot.
Russell Pierre in the ball game with McMillan now.
You think they're right now in their little game right now where they want to use up some clock and sort of shorten this game a little bit, Gary?
Yeah, but you're trailing. That doesn't make as much sense.
I guess if they can feel like they can stay close.
Charles. Follow. Russell Pierre. That's what he is. He's a great offensive rebounder.
The secret to being a great offensive rebounder is effort. You got to want to go get the ball. That time Russell Pierre followed up nicely.
6'8" sophomore. Cuts it now to 3. 41-38. Alderberry. Webb from the blind side. Thought he had the steal, but it's off the spud.
Lorenzo Charles going to take the ball to the basket. Power move. Doesn't get it to drop. And here comes Russell Pierre. Nice follow-up.
Back to the live action. The Redmen with the basketball. 13 minutes left in the game. Mullin shaking loose. Rebound Wennington. He's fouled. Wennington, who didn't have an exceptionally good game Friday night, has come back strong in this one.
They have really hit the offensive boards hard in this second half. The first half, they were outscored 8-0 on the offensive boards. This is at least the third possession that they've got a chance now to score on off the offensive glass.
Charles will get a breather as Benny Bolton has come in to replace him in the lineup. So Pierre, Bolton, McQueen will be the front line with McMillan and Spud Webb in the backcourt. Wennington has a good-looking shot.
You can just tell he's so much more confident. Last year he was a 63% free throw shooter. This year almost 81%, so he's improved so much. And Gary, how many times we talked about the ability for your big man to shoot free throws? We saw that yesterday in the Georgetown game with Ralph Dalton winning that game at the line late.
He is 6 of 6 from the stripe in this game. 43-38. Temple slowing down a lot.
Both teams a little more patient.
Spud. Always expect something spectacular every time he makes a move. Rebound, Wennington again. Almost taken away. Chris Mullin looking up at the clock. 12 minutes away, he's thinking right now from Lexington. That'll be off of Chris. 6 turnovers. Charles, very brief break. He'll come back into the game. McMillan will come out. He does that quite often. I would think, Doug, when you're big like that much weight, you can tire very easily. So they give him those intermittent breaks.
I thought he struggled a little bit the other night in the game against Alabama, getting up and down the floor. But he said yesterday when I talked to him, he really wasn't that tired.
He's got the bulk. He has to carry. Comes in, and that shot was blocked, but Berry committed the foul. That's 3 on Walter Berry, 4th team foul against St. John's.
I think one of the officials called it on Willie Glass with the body. So
it is Glass.
I thought it was Walter Berry coming over the top as well, Gary, but they said with the body, Willie Glass.
Well, if that's true, that's 4 fouls on Glass. And that's what they're going to do. They will give it to Glass. So he'll come out of the game. Ron Stewart, the utility man coming in. He had such an outstanding game against DePaul when Bill Wennington got into foul difficulty, 8 points and 7 rebounds. Glass just hasn't showed up today.
Really very confident with Ron Stewart in the game, though. He's an experienced player. He knows he can go to him in 3 or 4 minute stretches and do a very nice job.
Charles cashing in the free throw. To get back to Willie Glass, he actually turned the game around for St. John's at about the 17-minute mark of the second half with a slam. In this game, we've seen nothing of Mr. Glass on the board. Charles hits them both. And there's Mr. Glass on the bench.
St. John's is a team that is very content playing with a 2 3-point lead. They do not panic. Let's watch to see if they come down. They have a 3-point lead right now to see if they can get a good shot and not be in a hurry.
St. John's now has missed their last 5 shots. You get lulled into a false sense of security against North Carolina State. You know what?
Another unforced turnover. Mike Moses attempting to throw the ball to Bill Whittington went right through his hands, and NC State now can close to within 1.
11:25 left in the game. Charles leaning in, and he's drawn another foul. Chris Mullin reaching in. Valvano's got Lorenzo Charles rolling now. Now, Jim Valvano, Doug, interestingly enough, he said this momentarily in the first half, takes each 5 minutes of the second half and breaks them down that way.
Against a team like St. John's, he told us yesterday he'd like to shorten the game. Right now, basically it's an 11-minute game. They're within 3 with a chance now to pull within 1. So you'd have to like his chances, other than the fact they have not been a good free throw shooting team on the season.
Charles, however, now has hit 3 in a row. They've hit 67% as a team this year. And North Carolina State is 14 of 17 for the afternoon.
I have a feeling that in that North Carolina State locker room at halftime, Jim Valvano let his team know we've got to get the ball inside to Lorenzo Charles. This guy's the man who's carried us here.
We have a 1-point game. Here's Berry. Had to kick it out to Moses. Webb was up in his face. He had to change the shot. Stewart has it. Now Mullin's got it. Lean in. And the All-American hit a big basket.
What a difficult shot. He picked up the loose ball. I thought he was just trying to draw the foul. Somehow he got it to go. Key basket there on the offensive boards again for St. John's.
45-42, 16 points for Mullin. Broken up. So they climb within 1, and here comes St. John's trying to, again, spurt. Stewart kicks it back out to Whittington.
Very good decision there by Ron Stewart. He wanted to shoot it, realized better, and pulled it out.
10.5 minutes to go. The winners of Lexington to meet Georgetown. Charles will reach around on Berry. Charles and Berry are having a war inside.
That's a great matchup. We've got quickness against power.
Substitution coming in. Jackson will come into the ball game.
This is a very good substitution. Mark Jackson is a better outside shooter than Mike Moses. See when they're going back in on the post, if Mark Jackson will hit the little outside jump shot that Mike Moses could not convert on.
Both these teams have had excellent depth in the bench area, and they're using it now. That'll be a blocking foul on Bolton, his second. Chris Mullin's been on the floor a lot in this game, drawing the charges, and this time foul.
Do you think Chris Mullin knew in his mind that his team was in the bonus and that if he took the ball to the basket and got fouled, he would get to the free throw line? I have to think that it was in his mind, I'm going to get to the free throw line and shoot the 1-on-1, and he's an 82% free throw shooter on the year.
There's his stats for the day. He has 5 rebounds to go for those 16 points. Doug, and being around Chris Mullin, would not doubt any of that. He can do it all. He is a consummate pro in the true sense of the word.
Well, he's always thinking ahead. What am I going to do? What happens if this goes on? And I really believe in his mind he was going to get to the free throw line in that possession, realizing that Benny Bolton was going to body him on his way to the basket.
St. John's has not missed from the free throw line. They've hit all 13 of their attempts. 47-42, approaching 10 minutes to go.
Benny Bolton needs to hit a little outside jumper here to relieve the double team.
Webb, that didn't look good at all. Tipped out, Bolton had it for a moment, Jackson's got it. Valvano is furious. Down to Berry, and he can't hang on now. That was an ill-advised pass.
Poor decision. Possession of the basketball, much more important. You got to realize Walter Berry's got to make a tough catch and then deliver.
Redmond lead it by 5. Gary Bender along with Doug Collins, and when you're an All-American, Doug, you find ways to help your basketball team.
St. John's only up 1 on this possession. Chris Mullin is actually out of bounds. He's going to use his body, not his arms, to get back in the play. The shot missed by Mike Moses. Watch who comes up with the ball, and watch the shot he makes. I think he takes this shot to draw a foul. Unbelievable shot by Chris Mullin to put the team back up 3. That's why he's an All-American.
47-42. Biggest lead of this game was 7 by St. John's, now by 5. 9:46 to go. Bolton, Webb, Pierre, Russell Pierre, I should say.
I really believe Benny Bolton's going to have to hit an outside jump shot here. Chris Mullin really double teaming down on Lorenzo Charles.
Charles and McQueen trying to get the ball inside to them, and that's been difficult all afternoon long. Stewart fronting Charles inside.
He's got to take that shot right there.
And Bolton with 9 points and a confidence builder.
Now, you got to make Chris Mullin play honest defense. They've taken away Lorenzo Charles in the middle. Vinny Bolton has got to take that shot. He's got to make it.
That could get him started again. There's Charles reaching around. He's giving some difficulty to Barry. Barry, early in the ball game, is kind of having things his way.
He's forcing him out higher on the floor. He's not giving him a good low post position. He's three-quartering him on the side and denying the pass into him.
There's Barry, just moved outside and got it. 17 points for Walter Berry. North Carolina State now has gotten the better of the field goal shooting in the second half. Broken up by Mullin. You know, another interesting stat in this game, Roger Riley hands us. Backcourt scoring in the second half. Mullin has 8 points. Wolfpack have not scored from the backcourt in the second half.
Well, they've actually moved Benny Bolton to guard against Chris Mullin, and he's got that outside shot. He shot it very well the other night. He's got to have the confidence to take it so they can get the ball back inside to Lorenzo Charles.
Bolton hit one there a moment ago, but Mullin's out on him this time. Spud Webb has good range from out there. They may have to bring Charles back outside again. They just can't get the ball to him.
St. John's really collapsing. They play that soft man-to-man defense, force you to beat it from outside.
There they do. They get it into Lorenzo. Look at that. 3 men around him. He passes to McQueen. And a rebound by Stewart and a foul on Russell Pierre. Golden opportunity got away.
Lorenzo Charles really made a nice play there. He was double or even triple teamed. Let's watch Lorenzo Charles. When he catches the ball, watch the attention that he gets. Cozell McQueen has got to dunk here if he'll step in. He wasn't prepared to step in and be a receiver. He was sort of spectating, and that time it cost his team.
It's got to be frustrating when you get 3 men around you like that. They have no place to go. A 1-and-1 now for Stewart. And that is the first miss from the free throw line by St. John's this afternoon. Prior to that, they had hit 13 in a row. Timeout, North Carolina State. 7:47 left to go in this game. Well, Doug, we have created a new defense. You want to explain this?
Well, we've got triangle 2, box and 1. This is a house and 1 defense. 5 guys around Lorenzo Charles inside. He's going to somehow, with his strength, find Cozell McQueen. Again, Cozell needs to get over and be aware of all the double, triple teaming on Lorenzo Charles and be prepared to finish that shot off.
Can't you just see all the coaches watching this game? They're scurrying to their notepads now. They took notes there. They're going to come up with that house-on-1 defense. In this second half, St. John's is out-rebounded North Carolina State 11-5. McQueen kicks it out to Gannon, who just checked in for that very reason.
Chris Mullin again roaming, going down, diving in on the post. Terry Gannon, very good point you made in the first half. He did not put the ball on the floor. He went straight up and shot it. He's made both of his attempts, and he's done that today.
He just can't create his own shots. He's got to have some help from his teammates, and it worked there. 49-46. North Carolina State has 13 points from their bench. St. John's none.
We have Spud Webb right now playing Chris Mullin, trying to use his quickness to keep him away from the ball. Very important for Chris not to get excited and get an offensive foul posting up.
Now that is an interesting matchup, and Stewart just nails one from outside. There's that guy that's come off the bench all year long for Louis Carnesecca, done such a fine job. Gannon again. Boy, he's fun to watch.
Well, Mullin's got to come up on him now. And Lorenzo Charles is able to receive an entry pass now from Terry Gannon.
Gannon started regional play so cold he missed all but 2 of his first 12 shots, and he hit 4 of 4 Friday, and he's hitting them again this afternoon.
They're playing that triangle, the 1-3 chaser right now. Zone with 4 men and Spud Webb chasing Chris Mullin all over the floor.
Barry and Charles still pounding each other inside. Mullin comes in, the basket will count. Spud Webb committing a foul, and that was a tough shot to even continue with and get a chance for a three-point play.
Chris Mullin doing a smart thing, not getting excited, realizing he has a smaller man on him, taking his time. Spud Webb reaching in, and the concentration and the follow-through on Chris Mullin.
Barry, Winnington, and Mullin have scored 49 of the 53 points for St. John's, the trio. They've been doing that the entire tournament.
This guy, Chris Mullin, is one of those guys when your team starts to struggle, you know he's going to be there to bail you out. He's done that all year. I always call him a momentum stopper, a guy you can go to break the other team's momentum.
Okay, we're approaching that 5-minute mark now, one of those levels that Jim Valvano talks about, and his team now down by 6.
See Chris Mullin now out defensively, taking that shot away from Terry Gannon.
After hitting 2 in a row, he didn't get that one. That was a little farther out, though.
Pushed him out about a foot farther than his range. Nice defensive play there by Chris Mullin.
Jim Valvano hoping somehow to get back to the Final Four after winning it 2 years ago in Albuquerque. There's only been 30 coaches in NCAA history that coached championship teams. It's a very select number when you stop and think about it. Here is Chris Mullin. A once-in-a-lifetime player, said Louis. Timeout, North Carolina State. 5:18 left in this game. St. John's now has made a move. Right now, St. John's their biggest lead of the game. Let's follow Chris Mullin around.
He's got a smaller man, Spud Webb. Jim Valvano put him on him to use his quickness. Chris Mullin's just going to be continual motion. He does not get excited. He knows he's got a size advantage. He's just going to keep moving without the basketball until he finally gets it where he wants it. There he is. He's going to come off in rhythm, shoot the jumper, and watch the reaction on his face. He likes it.
Did you see it when he spun around? His elbow wasn't even close to the head of Spud Webb. He was standing underneath him.
What a special young man, I tell you. College basketball is going to lose a lot when he graduates.
56-48, 5:13 left in the game. Gannon gets it inside to Charles. 3 men around him, the house and 1 defense, and he is fouled. That foul will be the 4th on Chris Mullin, and that has to be of some concern. Mullin with 4. Is he fouled out? He hasn't even fouled out of the game this year.
He's one of those players who knows how to play with foul trouble. He's not going to pick up a foolish one.
Next Saturday from Lexington, 3:30 Eastern Time, the Final Four begins with Villanova meeting Memphis State. Will be followed then by the Georgetown and the winner of this game. Georgetown Hoyas trying to repeat.
North Carolina State now going to extend their defensive pressure and be forced to turnover.
6-point lead. Moses back in the ball game, playing the point guard spot. I checked that. Jackson. This is Stewart.
Straight man-to-man defense right now by North Carolina State. They've given up the trick defense, straight man-to-man.
They're running out of time. Mullin shoots it over Bolton. Charles, you can hear the grunt and groan as he went up and brought that one down. He has 8 rebounds, 15 points, 11 of those points in the second half.
North Carolina State will just not die. They're hanging in there right now. If they can score in this possession, we've got us a 4-point game with 4 minutes to play.
Gannon would like to take that shot, but he's got Jackson a little too close to him now. It's going to be Bolton. Rebound Jackson. 4 minutes to go. St. John's right now is in excellent position with a 6-point lead, and they won't be in any hurry now.
Ron Stewart's done a very solid job off the St. John's bench for Willie Glass today, who got foul problems.
Jackson and Moses have complimented each other at the point guard, and there is Mullin. He got the step, and he got the foul, and that will be the third foul against Bolton. You don't want to foul this guy because he is such an excellent free throw shooter. Over 80% all year long. There he is, 82. The guy you want to foul is not even the ball game right now. That's Glass.
The only guy right now, Ron Stewart's a 52% free throw shooter. Chris Mullin that time was very close to picking up an offensive foul. Benny Bolton had very good position, but he did the thing that as a coach you always tell a young man not to do. He reached in, and when he reached in, he was called with a personal foul.
24 points for Mullin as Spud Webb will replace Terry Gannon. Who does Mullin remind you of? Everybody says another Larry Bird. Do you like that comparison?
Well, you know, I don't think it's fair to either player because both are great in their own right. Larry Bird has scored 10,000 career points in the NBA, so let's let Chris Mullin get to that level before we start comparing it.
Good point. An 8-point lead now by St. John's. Bud Webb. Pipped up and in. That's Russell Pierre who will get the final tip.
Tipped by Russell Pierre.
58-52.
See if Ron Stewart, when he touches the ball the next time, see if North Carolina State gives a foul to put him on the free throw line. That was his strategy, Jim Valvano's. When he won the tournament, he won it by making other teams shoot free throws against him.
In particular, Houston in that championship game in Albuquerque. St. John's has missed only one free throw in this game. They're 16 of 17. Because this guy's been at the line.
St. John's realizing who their free throw shooters are. They want to keep their ball in their hands as much as possible.
There it is, the foul you were looking for.
That's a smart foul. You got to play percentages in this game. You got to say this guy shot 52% over the course of the season. Let's magnify it now and throw a little tournament pressure on him and see how he responds.
Russell Pierre committing his fourth personal foul. It's tough enough shooting free throws, but when you're this close to the Final Four, it's even more difficult. He has missed one attempt earlier in the game. He'll go back home and tell everybody in St. John's that he had that one all the way.
Well, you could throw out the percentage in the tournament. A lot of guys are going to rise to the occasion, and other great shooters are going to miss. Last year, Chris Mullin missed a 1-and-1 when he's a 90% free throw shooter. Oh, my goodness.
Well, we were bragging too soon, I guess. That was against Richmond last year. Temple, I'm sorry, against Temple. That is typical, though. After you hit a free throw like that, you think you really got it zeroed in and you get the air ball.
Well, if I'm North Carolina State, when he touched it again, I foul him and put him back there where he just was at.
There's Jackson deflected that shot. It'll go on to St. John's. Bud Webb, knowing they're in a hurry-up situation, trying to penetrate quickly inside. 2:35 left in the game. Bolt will inbound. Steve Keibler, the official, being sure that everyone has their position on this inbounds. Webb inside. Harry was up. Is it goaltending? There's a foul for sure. Let's see if there's also a basket. Indication is good. It is goaltending.
I would have to see this play to be able to make an accurate call. Let's see if Walter Berry takes the ball to the basket himself. If it's simultaneous, that's a tough call to make. The defensive man can take it to the board. If in the officials' estimation it was not on its downward arc, they ruled that time the ball was coming down.
For the first time, Ernie Myers, 31, comes into the ball game. Webb with 8 points. That foul, by the way, was on Jackson, his third. Also 9 assists for Anthony Webb. Very important three-point play, and it's a 59-55 game.
Chris Mullin, the trigger man, taking the ball inbounds. He's their most accurate passer, taking it out.
Webb trying to stay with Jackson. North Carolina State has 2 timeouts remaining. St. John's with all 4.
Ernie Myers is fouling Ron Stewart off the ball intentionally.
And now we have a temper flare-up between Ernie Myers, who checked into the game. He and Stewart going after each other for a moment. Myers, by the way, is from the New York area. Played at Tolentine High School, where Jim Valvano's father, Rocco, used to coach. He's going to come out of the ball game now.
Jim Valvano put Ernie Myers into the game to basically give a foul. He was guarding Ron Stewart off the ball. He fouled him intentionally to put him at the free throw line. So now Ron Stewart will shoot 2 free throws. Louis Carnesecca not real happy, feeling that the foul was intentional.
Doug, you don't think the last 2.5 minutes is going to be a long 2.5 minutes for Stewart?
It's going to be a free throw shooting contest right now, and I would not be surprised that if Ron Stewart does not convert here.
Let's see if we can pick up what you were talking about a moment ago. There's the push from behind.
How would you like to go to the free throw line right now if you just shot an air ball?
I think of the one I hit before.
And he did.
Mental pictures, as you've always talked about.
Now he's got to maintain his composure and make this one. You can't be satisfied by making 1 out of 2. North Carolina State would love to trade you 2 for 1 every possession right now. They'll get back in this game.
5-point difference, 2:17 to go. Look at that. Louis says that's the way I taught him to shoot those free throws. And he hit dead center on both of them. 61-55. Webb ducks in again. Rebound by Walter Berry. And McQueen has fouled him. That's the 3rd on Cozell McQueen. You think about all the years that Louis Carnesecca has coached, the success he's had with this, so close to being his first Final Four appearance.
1-1.
At the line, Berry with 17 points, 5 rebounds. He's hit all 3 free throw attempts. Just a sophomore. Charles in the rebound, and that leaves the door open.
North Carolina State needs to let Spud Webb penetrate. See if he can create an easy basket, maybe draw another foul and stop the clock.
You see the time remaining. Ended. McQueen charged. Cozell McQueen is called for charging. That's 4 on McQueen. McQueen hasn't scored in the second half.
You see Jim Valvano right there yelling to his team, foul, we got a foul. Substitution for St. John's.
Moses coming in for Jackson. Both those guys just kind of mirror each other at that point guard spot.
Moses a 79% free throw shooter.
On the other hand, Jackson 75. 1:50 left to go. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. We have 1 minute, 50 seconds left in this game. St. John's leading 61-55. And they're coming after St. John's. They want to commit the foul.
They've moved Chris Mullin down to forward right now. And they put 2 guards into the game. Speaking of St. John's, so they have Moses and Jackson, both very good free throw shooters. Mullin has moved down to forward. We know he's an excellent free throw shooter. Barry Winnington on the front line, so they have 5 very good free throw shooters in the game.
Nice, you can leave your 7-footer in there when he's a good free throw shooter. And Moses is fouled. Moses just checking in, and that's a little difficulty when you've been cold, sitting on the bench a while, and have to go to the pressure-packed free throw line.
1-1.
1:42 left in the game. This guy is from the same high school that Ernie Myers, where North Carolina State is from. We hit that one dead center. And Stewart now will come back in. They'll sneak him back in when he doesn't have to shoot a free throw.
Well, what they're doing here is offensive, defensive substitutions. When St. John's has the ball, they want their best ball handlers, the best free throw shooters in the game. If they convert, they want to get their better defensive people in.
Moses made that look easy. 63-55. Stewart comes in. Moses sits down. In the second half, St. John's has hit 17 of 20 from the line. Steal by Jackson. Mark Jackson playing cat and mouse, gets it off to Stewart. They didn't foul Stewart. He got rid of it before they could.
Should keep it out of his hands.
Well, they didn't. And Stewart will go to the line again.
It's very difficult in the heat of battle to realize who you're passing the ball to. But as a point guard, you got to be aware of who you want to have the ball in your hands. Spud Webb's going to try to feed the post. Jackson, excellent hands, saving the ball. That might be the turnover that breaks North Carolina State's back.
You know, we talked about the trio of scoring, Weddington and Mullin and Berry, but the other guys are doing the little things, just like that steal by Mark Jackson, who won't show up in the box score.
The words yesterday that Jim Valvano gave us was, the St. John's team fits like a glove. All pieces go together, and I think you've seen that today. When they've had a chance to fold and NC State come back, they've maintained their poise, and the All-American Chris Mullin has made the big plays.
And this guy has been shooting extremely well from the free throw line, 4 or 6. Valvano saying that just doesn't figure. His first trip to the Final Four, a minute 22 away, and look at him. You can see the excitement in that 60-year-old man.
How about Ron Stewart? 52% free throw shooters, made his last 4 in a row.
He's just telling everybody in Lexington, don't foul me, I'll nail him.
Throw away the percentages.
Bud Webb, they didn't want to foul him. They let him go for 2. 65-57, Spud with 11 points. Weddington gets it off to Jackson. He is fouled by Spud Webb. And that's the third on Spud Webb. Webb didn't get a chance to play on that championship team coming from the junior college ranks, but McQueen and Charles and Gannon were there. This is the interesting technique of Jackson at the free throw line. Sights a shot. McQueen kicks it out to Webb. They have to hurry. A minute to go. But Webb did hurry. Timeout, North Carolina State. That leaves the Wolfpack with 1 timeout remaining. A lot of ground to catch up in a short length of time.
One thing I think St. John's has got to be aware of is you just can't let North Carolina State drive the ball down the floor and score in 2 or 3 seconds with a layup, call timeout and stop the clock, because you know the minute you get the ball inbounds, they're going to foul you. So right now what you'd be doing is you're shooting a free throw, 1-and-1, and they're driving the ball down the floor and scoring a layup. You've got to do a better job containing Spud Webb in the open floor.
But the thing you also have to realize is we've seen this all tournament long, where they don't pressure that inbounds pass or let the guy go, like you're saying. It's cost team after team.
How many times have you seen it? A team gets up 3, they think they're in good position. Team runs the ball down the floor, calls time, gets a steal, and now they're in the lead.
Doug, can you imagine what Louis Carnesecca is thinking right now? He's 57 seconds away. He's coached so many years. You can coach a long time and never get in this position to get to the Final Four.
I'm sure right now he's trying to control those emotions. We know he's a very animated and emotional coach, but right now 57 seconds. He's got to remain a cool head in that huddle right now. Tell his players we can't celebrate too early. There's been many a game lost in the last 57 seconds in a 6-point lead. Jim
Valvano said that Carnesecca wrote the textbook on fundamental coaching. He is a gym rat, just like his star Chris Mullin. Jim Valvano's team, after a lot of adversity this year, has come a long ways, and they're going to be very, very good next year.
Let's see if North Carolina State tries to draw an offensive foul, maybe on a St. John's player cutting to the basket. On the other hand, look for a St. John's man running long for a layup. They might try to run a guy long. Just keep your eye on that.
Mullin gets it into Weddington. Moses, McMillan trying to reach in to commit the foul, and eventually Gannon does. That's 4 on Terry Gannon. Then what'd they take? They took 5 seconds off the clock. Moses, who hit his last 2 free throws, will go there again. 1 timeout remaining for North Carolina State.
1-on-1.
Mike Moses shooting 1-1.
And that's a big rebound.
Got to foul him again. Watch Chris Mullin make somebody foul him. He's going to just keep the ball in his hands. 5 seconds.
Got it off in time to Jackson. Moses rejected by Charles. That was not a wise move.
They don't need the points.
But Webb is fouled. So Moses should have come back out with the basketball. He tried to take it inside, and Louis saying, are these final seconds ever going to expire?
I guarantee you Louis Carnesecca told his players, we don't want anything but a layup. Chris Mullin trying to draw the foul, almost a 5-second count. Mike Moses is going to get the ball, and here comes Lorenzo Charles to bat it away.
That was not an uncontested layup in any sense of the word. Webb with 13 points, 9 assists, 3 of 3 from the line.
Another thing, the clock is already stopped, so there's no need for North Carolina State to call a timeout here. They can deny the inbounds pass. If they don't get it, they can foul immediately, and they will have cut the lead to 4 if Spud Webb can convert.
He did not go. Wennington brings it down. Out to Mark Jackson. This is uncontested. 19 points for Barrett. Webb, he missed his jam. Did you see him get up on that play? Louis now with 14 seconds. He's still coaching.
He's telling Walter Berry to stop celebrating.
Their sweater's going to be 4-0. They're going to see it in Lexington. And Wennington, after all that flurry of activity at the free throw line. 12 seconds. Gannon in. Wennington has it. 5 seconds left to go. McMillan will foul out of the ball game, and the high fives continue.
What a great man.
Oh, he's wonderful. Well, Jimmy's been in that victorious circle before.
Well, as he said yesterday, he wants to get back to the Final Four very badly. But if he couldn't get there, then he is very happy that this man, Lou Carnesecca, will be there instead of him.
33 years since the Redmen have been in the Final Four. They got there against Kansas in 1952. It was played in Seattle that year. Russell Pierre. Five seconds between Carnesecca and Lexington. Is on their way to Lexington. The 4 teams have earned the right to play in Rupp Arena.